Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to this new day. I hope you are feeling good and free from any problem. Alright. Plus, do you know why plant species continue to increase? I know some of you know it and some don't know. You know, plant species continue to increase. It's really because of plant propagation. Plant propagation is a process of reproduction of new plants. And this happened through sexual and asexual means. And so, this morning, I will share to you some information about sexual and asexual propagation. Of course, at the end of this video, you will know the essence of sexual propagation and asexual propagation. Okay, let us start with sexual propagation. Sexual propagation is the common method of reproduction and multiplication of plants through the use of seeds and spores. Vegetables like tomato, eggplant, pechay, radish, carrots, mustards, and legume crops like cowpea, mung bean, and peas are generally propagated by seeds. Fruits such as kaimito, avocado, santol, jackfruit, guava, mango, and other some fruit trees are also propagated by the use of seeds, although in some cases the resulting plants may not come true to type and do not have the same characteristics as the parent plants. And so, seeds are still the most economical and fastest means in the reproduction of plants. However, some plants like fruit trees produced from seeds vary in their characteristics. Hence, we cannot always expect the desirable qualities as to size, shape, vigor, quality, and yield of the parent plant and their new offsprings or progenies, shall we say. Ferns and mosses are by nature propagated by spores. Let's talk about how seed is formed. A seed is a mature ovule. It is formed in the flower where the male and female germ cell unite after pollination. Plants are like animals. They have their own reproductive organs. The male reproductive organ is called the stamen, while the female reproductive organ is called the pistil. The male germ cell is contained in the pollen, while which is produced in the anther, while the female germ cell is found in the ovule, which can be located in the ovary at the base of the pistil. The flower has many parts. It has petals which attract insects that help in pollen transfer. It also, or it has also sepals to support petals and other parts of the flower. Basically, there are two important things that take place before the seed is formed. These are pollination and fertilization. When we are talking about pollination, this is the process of, or the transfer, sorry, of pollen grain from the anther of a male flower to the stigma of the female flower, while fertilization is diffusion of the male and female germ cells to form a zygote. The transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower on the same plant is known as self-pollination. The transfer of pollen grain from the anther of the flower of one plant to the stigma of the flower of another plant is known as cross pollination. When the anther matures, it will burst open to release the pollen grain. As the pollen grain or pollen grains are released, insect wing or any other agents may carry them. If the pollen happens to land on a receptive stigma, within minutes, it will send out to a tube which will bring down through the style and into the ovule, where it will burst to release the male germ cell. Once sperm cells are released, one of them will unite with the female germ cell, after which the ovule will start to develop. When the ovule matures, what one gets is a seed. Each ovule that develop is fertilized by a different sperm cell. Of course, it is obvious that the seeds in the fruit have different hereditary traits or characteristics, and when planted, the seedling trees or plants differ not only among themselves but also with their parents. But it must be realized that seed is also useful in many ways. Seeds are useful to plant breeders who need large seedling population with different characteristics, which they can select new outstanding varieties. Likewise, seeds are useful to nurserymen who need the large seedling population to be used as root stocks from certain outstanding varieties that are normally produced by vegetative means. Above all, seeds are used when propagation by vegetative means, or when propagation by vegetative means is not economical and impractical, as in the case of, for instance, papaya. And it must be remembered that papaya can be propagated by cuttings and marketing, but commercially it's always grown from seeds. Okay, this is how seeds are really formed, and of course significant uses of seeds. So that's sexual propagation. Let's talk now about asexual propagation. When we say asexual propagation, this is a type of plant propagation which produces a new plant through natural or artificial means without the use of seeds, since it does not involve the function of sex. And it is commonly referred to as vegetative uh, propagation. Now, what are the advantages of asexual propagation? Okay, number one, desirable characteristics of the parent plants are retained. Number two, grafted and budded plants bear fruits early compared to those which are propagated sexually. Three, trees are generally low, thus labor cost and time in the maintenance and harvesting are economical. Then the fourth one, and of course the last, there is a uniform appearance of trees, and more number of trees can be planted per unit area. Of course, when it comes to the disadvantage, there is a possibility of disease or diseases um, to be transmitted from parents to the new individual plant. And of course, some source of certified scion or bud stick is a usual problem. Yes, we cannot sure that the scion or bud stick are really good, so it's a problem. Okay, let's talk about the methods of asexual propagation. Okay, number one, we have vegetative or natural propagation. This refers to the perpetuation and multiplication of plants by means of the growing parts. And these are the growing parts. For example, uh, we have number one, of course, the crown. Part of pineapple plant, which can be found at the top of the fruit. Then we have also suckers. These are stems or shoots which come from the underground portion of a plant or tree. Like, for example, banana and pineapple. Then we have also buds. These are composed of modified folded or leaves folded around each other, and example of which are onion and garlic. Then we have also tubers. This is a these are thickened basal stem or stems bearing buds or node-like scars. Example, yam and sweet potato. Okay, we have also root top. It is a root which can produce shoots and later develop into new plants. Example, orchids and breadfruit or ramas. Another is corms. These are underground stem producing pulse stalks. Example, we have banana and abaca. Then we have also runners, a shoot emanating, or runners are shoots emanating from the base of the plant that runs the along the ground, and its end produce a new plant. Example, strawberry and gabi. Then we have also rhizomes. These are underground creeping stem. The common example is ginger, yung luya. Then we have also the last, we have slips. These are shoots growing at the base of pineapple fruit. If you have seen a pineapple plant, if a pineapple plant has a fruit, the shoot or shoots growing at the base of the pineapple plant is what we call as suckers. And in the pineapple fruit, the top, shall we say, shoots, or top shoot, is what we call as crown. And of course, if you will see shoots at the base of the fruits, this is what we call as slips. Okay, let's talk about artificial propagation. So the first one I mentioned was the natural propagation, and here comes now the artificial propagation. When we are talking about artificial propagation, this is a method of asexual propagation, in which new plants are produced and multiplied by the use of parts and buds of the selected mother plants, and employing several methods or means as cuttings, layering, enarching, marketing, grafting, and budding. Okay. There are several methods of artificial propagation. We have cutting, meaning you are propagating, you are reproducing plant species or plants through the use of cutting. Cutting is a detached part of the selected mother plant intended to be multiplied through burying in the soil or rotting media with the sole purpose of producing a new plant. Cuttings may be subdivided into three classes. We have the root cuttings, which are made from mature fruits, as in the case of breadfruit. Then we have also leaf cuttings, are made up of leaves, as in begonia. Then we have also stem cuttings. This can be categorized into softwood and hardwood cuttings. Softwood cuttings may either be made from young and immature parts of the plants, as in the case of Bougainvillea, San Francisco, and Papua. Hardwood cuttings are made from mature twigs of the plants intended to be produced, as in the case of Bougainvillea. Because lately, success has been made in producing rotted chico and citrus with the use of cuttings dipped in growth hormone solution. Okay. Second, layering. Layering is inducing a branch or a shoot to roots while still attached to the mother plant. It can be classified as simple layering, which is done by bending the branch of a shoot to the ground and covered with soil. And of course, after perhaps few days or months, depending on the kind of plant, there will be roots which will be produced, and this will become in an independent plant. Okay, we have compound layering. The difference is that this is done by bending a branch or shoot to the ground and buried 2 to 3 times in the ground. Then we have tip layering. This is done by burying the tip of a shoot to the ground. We have also marketing. Marketing is otherwise known as air layering, and sometimes referred to as pot or Chinese layering. It is an ancient method of plant propagation. It differs from other method because the twig or stem is induced to roots while still attached to the mother plant, as a method of propagation, it is uh, easy to do, and success in producing new plants is high. Or yeah, okay. Another type is grafting. Grafting is a method of plant propagation in which the desirable scion, the top portion, is joined with or inserted into the rootstock, and the process of joining together a rootstock and a scion until they united permanently. Okay. We have also factors to be considered in grafting. Okay. Please bear in mind that when you perform the operation of this particular method of plant propagation, you have to consider about the weather conditions and the stage of plant should be considered for the success in grafting. Grafting may be done at the beginning of the dry season and the rainy season. Design should be well prepared from selected pedigreed trees, the characteristics of which are to be perpetuated. Of course, in some manner, this in the stock should be healthy, vigorous, and free from diseases and, of course, other elements. Okay, so these are the different factors to be considered when you will graft a particular species of plant. Okay, these are the different types of grafting. We have enarching or approach grafting. Then we have also cliff grafting, saddle grafting, whip or tongue grafting, splice grafting, bark grafting, and of course we have also, aside from grafting, we have budding, and we have also three types of budding. We have shield budding, then we have also patch budding, and of course chip budding. And of course, if you happen to open your laptop and if you have internet connections, you please read or view some of the YouTube videos so that you will get the skills on how these different types of vegetative or natural propagation are really done. Okay, let's talk about the basic requirements for successful grafting. Okay, number one, we have graft closely related plants because they are compatible. Because the compatibility of the two plants should be considered. Therefore, you should have to graft related plants. Then we have choose disease-free scion and actively growing rootstock. When budding, use the plump and develop buds. Then, of course, use sharp knife in preparing the scion and rootstock. Sharp knife makes smooth level cut, which affords better cambial contact. Then, of course, you have to make sure that the cambium of the scion is directly in contact with the cambium layer of the rootstock before binding together. And of course, the cambium layer is found between the bark and the wood. In wrapping the graft, make sure there's enough pressure that could hold them together until they are permanently united. And of course, in clipped saddle splice and whip grafting, it is desirable to use scions and rootstocks of the same size and preferably on the same vigor. Then we have also, uh, aside from artificial propagation, we have also aseptic micro propagation. Mm. The aseptic micropropagation, this is a propagation of plant starting from the very small plant, grow aseptically in test tubes or another container. Okay, we have embryo culture. This is a method of culture through the use of embryo in aseptic condition. Of course, with a growing medium or media. Then we have also tissue culture. This is a method of culturing tissues in aseptic condition through the use of growing medium and of course many plants which can be produced. Okay, for example, mm, tissue culture about mushroom. There are this. I will share to you some fruit plants in the Philippines which are propagated by um, vegetative propagation or asexual propagation. Okay, we have Atis. This is propagated by budding and arching or seeds. Then we have avocado, patch budding, clip grafting or seeds. Then we have banana, suckers, rhizomes or beets. Then kaimito in arching, marketing or seeds. Then we have cashew in arching, marketing or seeds. Chico, marketing in arching, clip grafting or seeds. Then citrus, shield budding, marketing or seeds. Duhat, marketing in arching or seeds. We have also grapes, cuttings, marketing or budding. Guayabano, grafting, marketing or seeds. Guava, we have marketing, patch budding or seeds. Jackfruit, marketing, and of course seeds. Lanson is cliff grafting or seeds. Mabulo, grafting or seeds. Makopa in arching, marketing or seeds. Mango, cliff grafting. Then it can also be propagated by splice grafting or seeds. Mangosteen is propagated by seeds. Marang seeds, papaya seeds, pineapple, suckers, slips or crown, rambutan, patch budding, in arching or seeds, rimas, root cutting, or marketing, santol, patch budding of seeds, siniguelas, stem cutting, and of course, strawberry runners. Alright, these are all about for the types of plant propagation, the sexual propagation, which is in which plants are propagated through the use of seeds, or shall we say spores. And when we are talking about asexual propagation, this is a type of propagation wherein plants are perpetuated or perpetuate through vegetative parts, of course, with either or with man's intervention. So this can be natural or artificial types. Okay, so these are all about for this morning, and these are just information. And I suggest that if you would like to get skills about how these different types of asexual propagation are done, uh, kindly watch YouTube videos. Okay, thank you, and good morning once again. God bless you all.